Hey, you guys, welcome back to another Bluefin Hangout. We are excited to have some really, really amazing Storm Collectibles to show off today. We're going to be talking about this Bloody Edition Motaro, available at bluefinbrands.com. But first, let's go to the panel. So, you know me, I'm David. Justin, AJ, yeah, they're always here. We know that. Blah, 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 blah.
Tired of us.
Boring. Jared, he joined us for our Blitzway talk, where we talked about the amazing Jimi Hendrix and the amazing Inspector Gadget, both on bluefinbrands.com. Make sure you check it out and pick it up. But we have a very special guest today making his first appearance on the Bluefin Hangout. We have Brian. How's it going, Brian?
Hi. It's going pretty good, all things considered.
Very nice.
Yeah, all things considered.
All things considered. So, Brian, why don't you explain to the fine folks at home what you do at Bluefin?
So I'm actually one of the many people who work within operations. We are typically the people who you will actually end up speaking with in terms of customer service, things like that. So chances are, if you've contacted Bluefin for any general issues for replacements or things like that, you've probably spoken with me at one point within the past 2 months.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's important for everyone to know that these are people who you're talking to. So everyone should, not just with Bluefin, but everywhere, you should always be nice to the nice people that do customer service. None of them are ever out to get you. They all want to work hard to get you the best result possible. And I can attest, I've seen what Brian and everyone on the team does, and they do an amazing job, and they try to go the extra mile. They're always asking fun questions. But it's also interesting that since Brian his desk is right outside the studio, so a lot of times when Justin and I are doing videos, and we're like trying to set up a shot, so we don't really have a ton of time to dedicate to posing the figures. We'll just go to Brian and we'll be like, "Hey, Brian, do you want to play with this Kirakar Curry figure and pose them for us?" And then he'll come back. Yeah, he'll come back like 2 minutes later, and it's way better than we would have ever done. So Brian, what's kind of your history with action figures and collectibles? Have you always been a fan?
I've always been a fan since like a little kid. Like the first figures that I personally went out to buy with my money was when they first released like the player stuff that Sony released for like Final Fantasy, things like that. And then since then I've moved on to like SH Figuarts. Like AJ knows I'm a big Kamen Rider fan. Like I'm always collecting like SH Figuarts stuff like that. And like sometimes I'll hit up AJ's like, "Hey, can you get me one of these by any chance?"
They'll be like, "No, sold."
No.
Sold out.
80% of the time, that was the case before I started working here.
Nice. Well, cool. Well, thanks for joining us today, Brent. We're going to talk all about Mortal Kombat. Justin has a Mortal Kombat machine behind him, which you can almost always see on screen, except today for some reason. There we go. It's like always prominently displayed in your background, except today. So, okay, there we go. Awesome. So, yeah, we got that amazing new trailer. So let's just go through our history with Mortal Kombat. We'll start on left with Justin. Justin, obviously you're a Mortal Kombat fan. What's your history with Mortal Kombat, and what do you think of the Storm Collectibles line of Mortal Kombat figures?
Sure. So my Mortal Kombat journey began in, I guess, 1993. I walked into a 7-Eleven in my hometown, and I watched a guy rip someone's head off as Sub-Zero. He was killing Johnny Cage. Poor Johnny Cage had his head and spine attached to it, and I was sold immediately. And that was an era back when 7-Elevens had arcade, like maybe one or two machines kind of in this weird little back tucked away corner kind of thing, and I was immediately sold. I'm like, "Oh my God, it's the greatest game ever." And sunk many quarters into this machine, loved it. And then remember when Super Nintendo had Mortal Kombat and there was no blood and everyone's like, "What the heck?" I was one of those guys that got to see the sweat instead of the blood. But it has been a long journey. The Mortal Kombat machine you see behind me was like a lifelong dream to own a Mortal Kombat machine, and it became a non-negotiable in terms of relationships. It was like, just so you know, there's going to be a time when a Mortal Kombat machine comes out and I'm going to own it, and that's all there is to it. You can do whatever you want with the house, but I have to have one of these machines. And that time came, and I got it, and I love it. And I love the Storm Collectibles figures too. They're amazing. They literally just like look like they pulled the figures right out of the game, and the fatalities that you can see right there with Sub-Zero breaking the guy in half. That is gnarly, and they just keep upping up the game, man. Like they started off cool, and now they're amazing. So there you have it. Long-winded answer, but there's a long journey.
Nice. I mean, it's an old franchise. It's franchise been around forever, so everyone's gonna have a story. So AJ, kind of what's your origin tale when it comes to Mortal Kombat, and maybe you want to describe to the fine folks at home what we are giving away today, or is that a secret?
Well, people do love giveaways, so I think it's best that we tell them now that we're going to be giving away one of those figures today that we're going to talk about. Oh, my camera.
AJ went away.
All right. This is what I would have we're going to give away one of those figures. And as far as my history with Mortal Kombat, it's similar to Justin, not at a 7-Eleven, though, but at an arcade. And I was like watching, I think at that time, it was just the fan favorites with the two ninjas, with like Scorpion Sub-Zero fighting. I'm like, that looks cool. My turn comes around, and even to this day, I will admit, in Mortal Kombat, I am a button masher. It is I still don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I know it, but I don't. Let me keep trying, and it just ends up being button mashing, and then I just walk away going, I've had it up to here with this game. But as far as the figures go, those are amazing figures. I think I've only learned about it, I think, prior to even working at Bluefin, and you just visit at something like San Diego Comic-Con. So as soon as I saw them, I'm like, these look great. What are these? So definitely looked into it, and now here I am, and I get to mess around with them all the time. And I will say it is fun playing with the Storm Collectibles line, like posing them in like their iconic like poses. Like with Mortal Kombat, you definitely I love the accessories as much. I think with Smoke, his accessories were really fun as well, and Sector as well with like the crushing fatality. Good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, and so for the contest, just leave a comment in the live stream, or if you're watching it after we have already aired the live stream, just leave your comments, whether you're watching it on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're watching it. Just drop a comment. Let us know what your favorite Mortal Kombat figure is. Let us know how much you love Storm Collectibles and how great it is. And speaking of loving Storm Collectibles, Jared has the privilege of being the brand manager for the amazing line from Storm Collectibles. Jared, were you a big Mortal Kombat fan before you started at Bluefin, or did you morph into one once you got your hands on this sweet, sweet plastic?
Oh, no, I've definitely been into Mortal Kombat ever since the game came out. My first experience with it was really actually with my neighbor. He had an actual machine, an arcade machine in his garage. And I remember one day he invited me over, and I was like, whoa, what is that? I was like, that's awesome. He's like, oh, this is a Mortal Kombat. You never played it before? I was like, nah. And then, of course, once you get to that character select screen, you're like, oh my God, these guys are so cool. And my go-to character was, like many others, Sub-Zero. I just love to freeze the guys and then do the uppercut. It was pretty cheesy, but it was my go-to move. And then, as far as the actual brand of Storm Collectibles, I've been with them since 2015. So I've been there from the start, and their first figures were the Scorpion and the Sub-Zero, the original versions. And as many collectors know, they go for a pretty penny now. So, the demand is certainly there from the fans. Storm knows that, and that's why, we have how many versions of Scorpion and Sub-Zero now, quite
very pretty
a lot.
penny.
But yeah,
they've come a long way.
that's sort of the great part of Storm, is that they've really developed the roster of characters. I would have never imagined that we've gotten the Motaro that we have now. I mean, this is like the definitive Motaro figure. My personal favorite though is probably Shao Khan. I thought they did a phenomenal job with the Shao Khan. He's kind of peeking behind there in the back. The fact that he came with his iconic throne, and his big mace, was just to me amazing. And he's like super big and imposing. And Storm, for anybody that collects Storm, they know that these figures are beefy. So these are figures.
It's like, I think our favorite word to describe Storm figures, beefy.
Yeah. Justin and I, when we were planning this amazing display behind you, one of the first things was, we got to put Shao Khan on the throne. Like, aside from like the metal structure new Gundam, like probably one of the first things we thought about putting in here was the Shao Khan. So we love it too. And like you, I also played Sub-Zero. So Sub-Zero was my guy, because not only because he frees an uppercut, he also did that little slide move that everyone hated.
Yeah,
it's pretty cheap.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. I didn't fare too. Luckily, I'm a big guy, and I was always taller than everybody else, so I didn't get too much grief at the bowling alley where I played at. But I was more a Street Fighter guy, and then all of a sudden, like Justin said, I saw someone rip the head off of a guy, and I'm like, oh, maybe Maybe I'm switching.
Like, what? What is this game? It's crazy.
I'm like, video games can't do that. So Brian, what's your long and storied tale about Mortal Kombat?
Look, man, unlike everyone else, I first got into Mortal Kombat from the original movies that came out.
Nothing wrong with that.
Like, it used to be one of the favorite things that I watched, especially the first one. It's just always hilarious to watch, and I have to say, like, from the movie alone, Shang Tsung became one of like the most memorable characters that I remember. That's why, like, I even freaked out when he made a comeback within Mortal Kombat 11. That was like one of the coolest things I saw.
Yeah, I love Shao Khan too.
As far as playing the game goes, I'm a bit of a button masher, just like AJ. But
Hell yeah.
I think the one character that I found easiest to button mash with was Noob Saibot.
Sure.
Just the idea of like him like teleporting behind someone was equally as bad as like the whole like Sub-Zero sliding thing.
Man, you speak about button mashing. I remember when I was a kid, we had a typewriter. So we didn't have a computer yet. This is a 93. And I remember typing everyone's moves onto little flashcards and then just carrying them around in my pocket. So I would always just kind of practice. They got complicated with Mortal Kombat 2 because there was friendships and animalities and 2 fatalities each. And you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And my handwriting was terrible. It hasn't improved. So I still need to type that stuff up. But pre-internet, that was basically it. You know, copying it out of a strategy guide and on these little index cards, so I could just kind of practice on the bus or when I was in class or whatever.
I should have done that.
I was less of a button masher and more of a down, forward, high punch. Why do you throw ice? Down, forward, high punch. Why do you throw ice? Down, forward, high punch. Why do you throw ice? I'm like, what's going on here? I'm doing the right inputs. Stupid machine. And I used to love in the arcades when some of them would have like the move set on like the side screens. I'd always get excited because then I could actually learn to play another character.
Sure.
But yeah, you can see on the screen we got the Motaro up there. It's great. What's really fun is the tail. Like we've seen past ones where there's like different sections of articulation. This is like one long wire underneath there, and it just moves and flexes so smooth and so nice, and you can get so much articulation out of it. And obviously the back kick is that move you never wanted to see when you're fighting against him.
Right. Right. Yeah, he was terrible. And I remember in Mortal Kombat 3, you were up on like the pit 3. So when at the end of that fight, you'd fall into those crazy little spinning gears that would just chop you up. And that always sucked.
The stages were always fun.
Yeah, totally. And Mortal Kombat 3 really upped the ante with stage fatalities. You get hit by a car, hit by a subway, you flew through the floor or fall through the or what was it? Go up through the ceiling and fall through the floor, stuff like that. So pretty gnarly.
Yeah,
I always thought Mortal Kombat did a phenomenal job with their stages as well. The stages were interactive. I mean, everybody knows like the spike pit where you punch them off the ledge and they fall down. For some of our longtime fans, you may have recognized that we actually had a diorama of that stage at San Diego Comic-Con. So, it's fun to include some of the the original stages in the display as well. Yeah, it's awesome. I remember when I got knocked into the acid pit or the acid pool in Mortal Kombat 2. I was like, well, that ain't right. I remember being just kind of like offended. I was like, man, that sucks.
That's how I lose.
Yeah. Oh man,
when I coming back from that.
Yeah, I know exactly. And if I ever lost in the game, I would, and they killed me. Like if the computer was able to do a fatality on me, then when I hit continue, I would have to play as a different character. In my mind, I'm like, well, that guy died, so let me play as someone else.
I get it. I have that almost same mentality. I'm like, well, I lost with him. On to a new character.
Right. It's like permadeath.
But I'm hot garbage with that character. So
Scorpion is dead.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. We didn't get to who you guys played as, Justin and AJ. Justin, do you have a go-to, or are you just whoever you feel like that day?
Well, I fell in love with Sub-Zero as soon as I saw him rip Johnny Cage's head off. So he was kind of my go-to, and then Scorpion as well, because it's the spear and the get over here, and his fatality. I think a lot of it had to do with how easy the fatality was. And like in Mortal Kombat, the first one anyway, Scorpion, his was just like basically like block up or something like that. So it was pretty easy to remember. Anytime you like in the later ones when they start to get like a little bit too much to remember, I'm like, let me just go back to the well and I'll just play as Scorpion or Sub-Zero. Pretty easy.
Yeah, and I think for like me, I think other than like Sub-Zero, I think the bicycle kick was always something I was like, wow, no one can really do that. How do I do that move in this game? And then I think when like Animalities came out and Liu Kang turned to a dragon, I'm like, I want to know how to do that. But again, I'm gonna have to press start. I'm sorry, I need to see how to do this move. Hey, and I hate it when people want to pause and learn the move, but at the same time, I'm that same person. You're like, hold on one sec, start. Sure, let me try it.
Totally.
Yeah. At Toy Fair this year, we had the arcade one-up for Mortal Kombat in our booth for Toy Fair. And I'm like, well, let's just see how it goes. So I played one single game as Sub-Zero. I won both rounds and did a fatality and realized it was never going to get better than that. I just stopped playing completely. Now, Brian, you mentioned the old movie, the 90s movie, which is I think is incredible. Annihilation, maybe not so much, but we got the trailer for the new Mortal Kombat movie. And is that something that's exciting you as someone who was brought into the franchise by the movie and then fell in love with the games?
Oh, it's very exciting, especially since Mortal Kombat is one of those games that's so rich with story and lore in general. So seeing them come to life in a much more to character, so to say, it's actually pretty cool. Like, honestly, I think the casting of like Hiroyuki Sanada as Hanzo or Scorpion is actually one of like the best things that you see, because he does have that like intense character that you or portrayal that you can see in like the actual games itself.
Yeah. He's gonna have it rough. Spoiler alert.
Especially in that fight with Sub-Zero. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's gnarly, man. And back to the '95 movie when the New Line logo came up and there's this fire and the music's playing. I'm like, this is gonna be the greatest movie ever, and it's like 10 seconds into it.
That music is just too iconic.
Yeah.
The Immortals.
I thought the coolest shot of the trailer was when Sub-Zero stabs Scorpion and he's bleeding and he freezes his own blood and then he stabs him again.
Oh,
that is so badass.
Yeah. I think my favorite scene for Scorpion is actually when Jax is firing that shotgun and you see all the bullets like freeze right in front of him and it just starts affecting his entire body afterwards.
Yeah, that was an amazing shot. That was Sub-Zero. I think you said Scorpion, but Sub-Zero.
Oh yeah, no, I meant Sub-Zero.
Get your ninjas right.
Sub-Zero's just a big cheater. That's not fair. Freeze my blood and hit me with it.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
Scandalous.
No. Jared, are you excited for the movie coming out? I think it's April 16th, I believe, is when it comes out.
April 16th.
And in the theaters.
Yep. I do have HBO Max, so I mean, I'm a movie guy. I love to see movies like on the big screen as they're meant to be. But I will be watching it as soon as it comes out on April 16th. This is one of the movies I've really been looking forward to for 20. Well, even I think it was even supposed to come out last year, but obviously it was pushed back. But yeah, totally, I'm absolutely excited for it. It looks like they're really going into the gore factor, which is definitely interesting, and. Yeah, I'm just curious to see like all the. I'm looking forward to the Easter eggs of like who else is in the background. They showed off all the main characters, but yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some secret characters that people will be excited about.
Yeah,
where's my striker?
Right,
that'll be the second run after I watch it for the first.
Actually, we're like Justin was talking about it, but where's our Johnny Cage? I want to see his head get ripped off.
Oh my gosh, no way, man! It's the thing, right? Because like the '95 movie, I didn't care about Johnny Cage until that movie came out, and I was like, oh my god, Johnny Cage is a badass. He's like my favorite character now, and loved it. But Mortal Kombat was one of those games that really fueled the playground rumors. When you were a kid, like oh, do this code or do that code, and then Sega had the blood code, and then if you fight on the pit and it's a full moon and you punch this guy on the 3 o'clock hour, then so-and-so's going to appear. And so this is the perfect kind of movie to have Easter eggs like Jared is talking about. And so many fans will pick up on that. And it's going to be great. assuming
Yeah.
they have them.
Yeah, you'll end up finding that red ninja that's not blue or yellow.
Yeah, they like the switching out the colors there. They mix it up a bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun couple months on HBO. We have Snyder Cut coming out next month. We have Godzilla versus Kong next month, and then we have Mortal Kombat in April. So it's a pretty good next 6 weeks or so. It's gonna be pretty good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of Snyder Cut, it's we're talking about Storm. We also do have some amazing Injustice figures. We have Darkseid, we have Doomsday in the background over there.
Yeah, let's pull Doomsday up here.
Lobo. So just another representation of the great character roster that Storm does.
And that Doomsday is huge, by the way.
Yeah.
You have like the Goro and Bane and Doomsday. They are just larger than life in your collection. They look amazing.
Yeah, like I think like the size comparison is definitely with the Sub-Zero because it's like there's Sub-Zero and then there he is. So there's clearly a height difference in there.
Yeah, he's about 1.5 Sub-Zeros.
And this guy's also on our Bluefin. He's also on our Bluefin B2C site right now. If you guys are looking at him.
BluefinBrands.com. Pick up Doomsday, and I think we also have Darkseid and we have Lobo on there.
Yes.
Don't miss that.
Yeah.
And the He's a great addition. Yeah, Doomsday.
I wanted to also just shout out the action figure photographers out there. I've seen some phenomenal work. You guys just blow me away with the pictures that you guys are doing. Darius D Amazing is one of a big proponent of Storm, and I just love to see his images when he puts them out there. So every time a new Storm figure comes out, I'm always really excited to see the pictures that accompany them. So
right.
The Motaro is like one of the most impressive looking Storm figures to date, and people are just doing some crazy stuff with him, kicking his opponents, holding them by the face, ripping them out of their bodies.
brings out the worst and the best in us, I suppose. Yeah. Black Series is another awesome photographer. He does a lot of Star Wars and Marvel stuff. Has these really cool effects, and then he does like I show you how I did it kind of thing. It's always really neat to see how the shot was captured, and you're just like, holy smokes!
Definitely the best TikToker on for toy photography, because like Justin says, it's one thing he shows this amazing picture, but what he'll do is he'll show like the construction of it, and you realize he's just in his backyard with a pile of dirt and some firecrackers, and then all of a sudden this amazing picture and stuff like that. So yeah, these Black Series on Instagram and on TikTok, and it's definitely fun to watch on TikTok.
Absolutely.
But I interrupted you, AJ. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say, like, Jared's right. Like, there's a lot of great photography, like, for like Storm figures, and I just want to say, like, if you guys want to share that, always tag us in them so we can see them ourselves, and then we could just share it out as well. Because if we love them, everyone else has got to love them too, And I think last year we also did like that photo contest. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Every time I see new photos, I'm like, man, I want to do another contest because these are amazing. But I think that's just part of me wanting to just see everyone's hard work, So
yeah, totally. Especially when they throw in dioramas, and you're just like, oh, I thought mine looked cool on the shelf, and now you just built a whole city, and I'm just like, dang it.
I forget who it is, so shout out to this person on Twitter, but he has a diorama for one of the MK stages, and he shared it with us, and I know I had retweeted it as well, but that was a really good-looking diorama. So, I'm blown away even by the smallest things.
Yeah, diorama creation is like really picked up, in recent years with the collecting hobby. So it's really amazing what people have been doing, and some have even made a business out of it. Like I see them, they do commissions for people, which is really great to see, just the community growing, that way.
Sure, and I think Extreme Sets also makes some really cool cardboard dioramas too. So check them out. They got some.
I don't get as much.
We played with like the sewer and like a port kind of thing, like with the containers, and it elevates it to a whole nother level with your toy photography if that's something that you're interested in doing.
Yeah, and we even had during one of was it San Diego, we had Emilio Morales on, and he kind of helped explain the diorama process, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give a shout out to him because he's been a great help for us as well.
And he's from Seattle.
Yeah.
The city that you couldn't wait to flee from.
I know. But now that I'm in the sun, I'm like, oh, Seattle, I love you. I miss you.
Chris Cooper on Facebook says, shout out to Edgy Armo on IG, who does some amazing toy photography.
Oh, dang.
So,
Thank you, sir.
Dang.
That's awesome. I
That's
had a
not
fun
going to
little.
help you win.
Right. I did a fun little Iron Man the other day. I didn't post. I just posted it in my story on Instagram, but I thought it turned out pretty cool. I was excited. It was the Fighting Armor Iron Man. We had done the stream last week on Fighting Armor series. I got my hands on a figure. I bought it, and I'm all excited, so I'm all playing with it, and it turned out pretty good.
You get that figure on bluefinbrands.com as well.
You can.
That is 1 point to Chris Cooper.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Cooper. Hang on, Mr. Cooper.
Yeah. The toy photography community is a great community too. You always learn new tricks from each other. So I mean, like we've witnessed, some of them coming together and just kind of like learning from each other. And if you have questions or you want to know like how did they get that or what kind of equipment they're using, they're always cool to hit up and stuff like that. And they'll tell you that don't worry about equipment right off the bat. Equipment's expensive. Everyone's got a camera on their phone. Everyone has the ability to start taking their pictures. And just like anything else you do, the more you do it, the better you're going to get. So if you're interested in toy photography, don't feel intimidated. Just take your favorite figure that you have in your collection and take them to your backyard or your garage or something and pose them up and snap some pics. And tag Bluefin Brands because we'd love to share it.
Always. And I'm a fan of like stuff like just putting an action figure in the city or something. Like if you go downtown and it just looks so cool. I dig that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys should just do it.
Is that the ATM, taking money out?
Yeah, finding a parking spot. Especially if you live in a big city, because then you got like all those awesome buildings all behind you. Like if you're in New York or Seattle or LA or something like that, there's some really cool like lookout areas, and it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, that's what put Black Series kind of on my radar. Was he photoshopped RX-78 in like I think it was San Francisco. I'm sorry if it wasn't San Francisco. If it was another city on the bay, but it was really cool. It was RX-78 coming out of the water. There's a big old bridge behind him, and it looked incredible. And then he did another one for Godzilla at San Diego Comic-Con, where he's like peeking around one of the hotels and stuff. And it's just there's so many creative and amazing toy photographers, and with Motaro, they can do whatever they want. So definitely make sure you pick up Motaro.
Yeah, and he's strong enough to kind of grip other characters too. Like there's some pretty cool production shots of him like grab like how that's a skeleton like that could easily be Sub-Zero that he's holding on to. It works pretty well. He's as Jared said, a beefy sort of fellow.
And surprisingly articulated. Like you wouldn't think that the bigger guys are so articulated, but I mean they really went all out with the joints in the legs, and just the upper body and the head and stuff. And
it's got 2 knees and an ankle.
I know.
Yeah.
That's
the articulation on it's actually really amazing. I actually got to play around with it for a bit. The one that David has right there was actually the one that we messed around with for a bit. And honestly, the articulation between the Motaro itself and even the skeleton was just pretty good. Like
Wait,
I was
so
just impressed by the scale.
Before I got it?
Yeah.
That one will be given away.
You guys can have Brian's leftovers.
You actually mentioned, you brought up a good point, is that the articulation is always something that we really care about. But the Golden Axe Death Adder figure, his joints are hidden underneath his skin, right? So everyone was kind of worried that it was a statue at first, but it is definitely a highly articulated figure. Yeah,
this is one of the newer body types that Storm is kind of experimenting with. So this is totally seamless, as you can see, and I think it looks absolutely insane. It looks like a statue, but it's articulate.
Right.
So
Ooh.
And the Death Adder is massive too.
Yeah, he's like really tall.
Like,
oh man!
I mean, if for those who have the Golden Axe, the Axe Battler, he's huge. But look how he just like is dwarfed,
towering over him.
It's like insane.
It also with like skeletons too. Like I know a lot of our fans had bought the skeletons as well. So the skeletons are there as the reference. Like look how tall he is.
Yeah, he's a big sort.
Gigantic.
Yeah, and these skeletons are awesome that Storm put out. They actually come with extra sets of hands. Like you would get with a normal Storm figure. Each of the skeletons comes with 4 extra sets of hands, which I thought was kind of a cool touch. It's already a really, really cool, very articulated skeleton for people who want to recreate their Harryhausen, moments, but he's
I'm thinking of like that 30s cartoon where they're just dancing in the forest.
But I mean, yeah, they're really articulated, and that probably looks dirtier than it's meant to be. But it's awesome that they come with those extra hands and stuff like that. So I know people are always looking for fun skeletons, and you can either get the 2-pack or you can get the colored ones when you get Motaro or Bloody Motaro.
Yeah, and one of the things is about the Motaro too is that each version has their own unique skeleton deco. So the regular version has the bloody paint, and the one that David's holding is the green skeleton, which is only available with an NYCC exclusive right there. So
yeah, it looks like my character that fell in the acid pit, Jared, and I was devastated by it.
Yeah, pretty similar.
So he bends at like the mid part of his spine, then he bends at the pelvis.
One of the yoga skeletons.
And then each arm bends. Each arm has the shoulder, elbow, wrist. Then the head's on a swivel. The ankles. It's
really decked out, yeah. And the cool thing about the green one is too, it almost has like a translucent look to it, which is just like how when Justin died in the pit.
Yeah, I remember it. Still have I haven't healed from those.
Never forget.
He's slowly melting away.
Too soon.
And then the 2-pack, the pink skeleton 2-pack, they had different weapons than the original white skeletons, right? So mixed.
Yeah, those were more of like scythes rather than like
scythe.
Yeah,
those were pretty cool.
So much fun.
It is. I definitely see why people went out and bought skeletons and why Storm released the skeletons by themselves. They're very, very cool, and it's awesome that Motaro already comes with plenty of accessories. Comes with his fireball. He comes with 3 other sets of hands. He comes with a different head. As you can see, I got both heads on here. I got the yelling face and the look at me, I'm so awesome face. So for him to already come with all those accessories and for them to throw on the skeleton, it's just added bonus, and people should jump on this.
Yeah.
Even those skeletons have like extra accessories too.
Jason Schwab said that he's correcting us. I said pit, but yes, it is the dead pool, the acid pool, the ugly little level that actually has skeletons dangling from the walls on that stage, which is really cool. And then sometimes there's like the little skeleton floating by, or there's also that one fella that's getting dipped into it on the chains. It's pretty gnarly too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about Mortal Kombat. If you're playing, you can't really enjoy the backgrounds, but when you're watching somebody play, then you can see all the cool stuff that's happening. A lot of distractions.
Yeah, the level design is amazing. Even like you said, the backgrounds. There's the one level where it's got like the portal to Outland. There's one where in the background there's like this giant building with like Shao Khan's head on it and stuff like that. There's that Boone and Tobias, they know how to make a video.
Yeah, I almost did a green screen and had the little toasty head coming up on the side, but I ran out of time. That was my goal today, and I failed.
Wow, did one job, Justin.
You have Mortal Kombat cabinets behind you.
I know. I was like, I got the machine, that'll work. But I thought it would have been fun, and I botched it. Sorry.
You really blew it.
Yeah.
But speaking of giveaways, make sure that you comment on this video both in the live stream and later on when it's posted regularly. We will pick a winner to win one of these amazing Storm Collectibles. I think AJ knows which one it is, but he's being coy. He's going to make you guys sweat it out. But we're also going to be announcing the winner of one of our recent giveaways for the Shar's Zaku 1 Gundam fixed figuration. So we'll be announcing that on the Bluefin and Tamashii Nation social accounts, at Bluefin Brands, at Tamashii Nations. But we can't say enough about how awesome Storm Collectibles are and just how much love they give to the Mortal Kombat franchise. We've all been fans for so long. It's great to see such high quality recreations of our figures, with just such loving detail and stuff like that. And so Jared, as our representative from Storm, is what's coming up next for Storm? It doesn't necessarily have to be Mortal Kombat. I know we just talked about the adder. What else we got?
Yeah, so of course you can expect to see more characters from the Mortal Kombat line. I think every time we post anything about Mortal Kombat, the comment section is just riddled with tons and tons of character requests. So you can of course expect to see more of that.
I think even in this chat, there's there's some requests in here as well.
Yeah, we definitely are aware of them and we see them, and All I could say is have patience.
You just
What
hit
else do we
Control
got?
P, Jared, and you print out new figures. What's the problem?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I got a 3D printer. I can do it for you if you need me to, Jared. I'm almost done with a Mandalorian helmet. Can we start cranking some of these guys out for you?
Yeah. And what else do we have coming out?
Guilty
something
Gear,
I'm-
right?
Something
we
I'm
did just
excited for was Storm specializes in like video game, fighting game characters and stuff like that. So now Storm is kind of in that same vein. They're going into like fighting anime characters. So I don't know if for those of you who have seen the little teaser announcement for like Baki and King and Ashura, but we can expect to see some characters from there as well.
Cool.
What else do we got?
Soul Soul was announced yesterday, and I think a lot of people were really excited to see that, especially since Guilty Gear Strive was on like their beta test recently. So
Yeah,
so
I think
I can't wait to see more.
I think I did see one like the Facebook comments where it's just like a picture of like Reggie. It's like,
Yeah.
And personally,
Darkstalkers. Another one.
like personally, I feel the same way. I think like Guilty Gear in general is actually one of those really cool series that I just love to see like a posable action figure for, because I don't think they've actually released any for them yet. Most of the time I've seen like statues, but I don't think I've seen anything posable for it.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty Gear's got cool music too, so you gotta cue that ready when you pull out your figure.
Yeah, Star's been doing stuff that no one else has been doing. They've like no one else did Golden Axe, Darkstalkers. We got Dimitri coming out, Tekken. Jin Kazama should be out. Within the next month or two.
King was just teased, right?
King was just teased. Yeah, I know there has been a lot of demand for him. He's a fan favorite for sure.
I don't think I've ever sucked harder at a video game than Tekken. Tekken just doesn't work for me. Like the timing is just so tricky, and it's like almost like it moves slower, and I can't. I'm pressing, but nothing's happening. I don't understand, and then someone just beats the hell out of me, and it's over and done with. I have never been able to be good at Tekken.
Because I think when I play with like a fight stick, I'm always used to the same button layout as most other fighting games. Like Tekken has a different layout that I never get used to. So even playing Tekken, it's like 1, 2, that's not the right button. I messed up. I lost. All right, I think I'm gonna go get like lunch.
Right. I
just gotta get better.
Yeah.
Just get good.
That's how you get good, by being beat mercilessly for like years.
Like Killer Instinct, that's another one that people are always trying to get their hands on. And when I do like a little 7-hit combo, I'm like, I'm the best. And then all of a sudden, someone does like a 32-hit combo, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Stupid game.
You gotta get your combo breaker.
Yeah. Fulgor, he was badass. He would be a cool figure.
I've actually told that to Star. I was like, I would love to see Killer Instinct. Like Fulgor is like he just reads action figure.
Right.
He's got a really cool looking face. He's got blades. He's silver and chromed out and stuff. So
yeah, he's gnarly.
Yeah, that would be a cool license to acquire. But
we'll get on that. We'll wait.
Yeah.
We have patience.
Get out your little Storm phone. It's the red one with a blinking light, and just be like, make it happen.
Yeah.
I'll pull out my gadget phone.
There you go.
But
well, we're getting to almost 'tis the season for convention season and stuff, and I know we definitely can't announce what kind of exclusives, but will Storm have exclusives come this convention season?
Yeah, of course. Every year, Storm has their slew of exclusives. So similar to years past, there is definitely some exciting stuff in the pipeline for exclusives. Maybe even a figure that has some really new tooling, something like that. So that's a little teaser or something.
No. New tooling. An extra bloody Motaro.
Yeah.
Paint your own blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a regular Motaro with like a tube of like nail polish or something.
Yeah.
There
are some
a vial of
gross
blood.
Yeah, exactly. There are some pretty gnarly fatalities that just make you just like kind of cringe. Like when Kung Lao, I know a lot of people are asking for a Kung Lao figure, and like there's one where he makes like a table saw with his hat and he like pulls someone by their legs. But
Oh.
for me, the worst was when he's pushing someone's face into it. Like I didn't like that, and it starts to like kind of nip away at their face and like their teeth, and I'm just like, oh my god, I hate every second of what I'm just watching right now.
Why they put this button in play?
I don't do well on the face damage, and that was rough.
That's
I
pretty.
felt bad.
Yeah, anything with a
Really
face.
anything like that in the movie.
Yeah.
I know it's in the movie, so hopefully we don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's edgy.
Well, awesome. I think that is all I have. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to add about Storm Collectibles or Bluefin Brands?
I don't think we looked at like that E Honda. He's just chilling over there.
He is. I didn't want to interrupt our MK love with the with Street Fighter love. I do love Street Fighter, and I loved being that guy in the arcade with the 100-hand slap, just cheating everybody, and then back forward high punch to where he'd like just dive at you and stuff like that. E Honda was a pretty devastating figure and character in the original Street Fighter 2, and I was typically a Ryu guy, but I also liked E Honda just because we got something in common, and I felt a spiritual kinship. But what's cool about this, aside from the awesome effect part, is the actual outfit is really, really a nice, soft, malleable material. So it really, really allows you to put this figure into a lot of poses. You have a really good range of motion with the legs and with the hips because of the soft material that is his sumo attire. I don't know the official term for sumo attire, so we'll just say sumo attire.
Sure. And like in true Storm fashion, he is also a beefy character, and he can support holding. He's got that grapple move where he grabs a character and squeezes the life out of him, and he's strong enough to support that.
Yeah, he's a lot of plastic in this guy. Yes, I think that's. I mean, Storm makes great regular sized characters, but I think where they really, really excel are on these extra large characters. Be it Doomsday, be it Motaro, be it E Honda. Zangief was another one. Like I never really cared about Zangief. I never played Zangief. He was just a tertiary character in my mind. But the second I saw the Storm Collectible one, I'm like, oh, Zangief's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's a big dude, and he's sort of in the same vein as Bane and Doomsday and Goro height wise. Zangief, he's a giant.
Yeah, I remember we kind of were like measuring them internally and like, damn, these guys are huge. I think slightly the biggest, but I think even now recently the Warden from Gears of War, I think that might be one of the biggest ones.
Right.
That guy's huge.
Yeah, he looks great.
Sounds like we're gonna have to do like a height test on this.
Right. I did that once.
Yeah, when we got Doomsday and we did, Doomsday was the tallest. Doomsday was taller than Goro. Actually, I'm sorry, Goro was taller because of his top knot.
Yeah, he had the ponytail thing.
A little extra top knot.
It's cheating. That's like someone wearing shoes.
It's only cheating if the other guy's not wearing shoes.
Right, that's true.
And in this case, neither are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scandalous.
But yeah, E Honda and E Honda is E Honda out now, Jared, or is he coming very, 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 very soon?
Yeah, he should be here within the first week of March. By the way, thank you to everybody for their patience. The shipping has been a bit of a challenge this year, for everybody. So E Honda is on his way. I know for those who order the New York Comic-Con version, you can expect to see him as well very shortly. I think within the next 2 weeks, he'll be in our warehouse to ship out. And for those of you who are interested, you can actually pre-order him as well right now.
Mm-hmm.
So he's there. Check out bluefinbrands.com/storm to see all of the catalog that we do have. Many of the items are available to ship right now.
Yeah, including Bloody Motaro. He's in the building. You can have him in just a couple days.
And you mentioned Emilio earlier for his dioramas, and he did that incredible bathhouse. He did E Honda's stage at Toy Fair, which is really cool.
Yeah.
We have it lying around somewhere still there.
I took a bath in it yesterday, AJ.
That was the one we couldn't. That was the one that was under the under the blanket.
Yeah, top secret.
Yeah, that everyone kept trying to peek under.
Yeah.
We had to put it in a corner under a blanket, but it looked amazing.
Next time we should just have an empty case with a cover over it, and then like a little note that says "Fooled you."
Yeah.
We did that with a reveal on something. It was we didn't mean to be, misleading. We had a box. It was for what the new one of the new Gundams was going to look like, and so we just had a box there. And it wasn't until later we realized, I think people think there's something under that box, and so there was people just all day just trying to get like every different picture. They're like flashing lights at it, just trying to get a thing. Like, oh, we should probably tell them there's nothing in there.
Yeah, no kidding. In the comments, Chris Cooper brings up an interesting point. He says all that port congestion is killing retailers, sadly, and that's true across the board. Whether it be like softline stuff, clothing, food, or fun merchandise like what we have. It's just it's a traffic jam over in the ports.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't help that like new stuff is coming over, especially with like Chinese news and all that.
Yeah, complicates things.
Yeah, I have a friend who works. He's a longshoreman at the Long Beach port where a lot of our stuff comes in. And I actually drove by over the Vince Thomas Bridge where you can see the port, and it's just, you look out of the ocean, it's just ships. And like each of these ships has like a million containers on it, and each container, it's a process to get it off. And these are not light things. And just looking at them, like, man, they're gonna these longshoremen, they're gonna be busy. They're gonna have overtime for the next 6 months. It's
If you ever watch those, totally, and if you ever watch those time-lapse videos of the ports and them taking the containers off, it's the craziest, most like logistical nightmare I've ever seen in my entire life. It's a lot of fun though.
Picture that claw game where you try to get the stuffed animals. Do it several thousand times.
Yeah, whew. That's edgy.
Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for your patience. Yeah. Hopefully we will have all this stuff soon. We try to be as transparent as possible on our social media at Bluefin Brands, but you can always tag us if you have a question, and if you're nice, we'll answer it. If you're not nice, we'll still answer it, but we'll be like, you believe this guy?
Yeah, throw some sass in there.
Yeah. But awesome. Thanks everyone for joining us for our Bluefin Hangouts. It was awesome going through all the Storm Collectibles. They're just so much fun to play with, so much fun to articulate and stuff. So the Bloody Motaro, the New York Comic Con exclusive, is currently in our building. It is ready to ship. You can get it at bluefinbrands.com. It comes with the fireball accessory. It comes with the amazing green skeleton. It's got the bloody paint scheme, which is a little bloody. So that you know what you're getting when you buy this bad boy. Like I said, the skeleton is awesome because it comes with 4 extra sets of hands. So if you want the skeleton running away, or if you want the skeleton fighting, or like I did, if you just want to ride it on his back, he can do that. So make sure to go to bluefinbrands.com for that, as well as several other Storm items. Doomsday is on the site. You can pre-order our New York Comic Con exclusive E Hondo, which is just like this guy, but he's got a green outfit. And there's just so much more going forward with Storm. We've been very excited. They've had so many different licenses, so many different properties. So it's been a lot of fun to see them grow. So thanks, Justin and AJ, as always, for joining us. Jared, it's always a pleasure to have you on. I'm sure we'll have you on very soon. And Brian, thank you so much for coming. I hope you had a good time. Was it fun?
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, it was really fun.
Nice.
And so like we said at the beginning, be nice to people. Justin and AJ do their best to run this community. They are your biggest allies. They're always bugging people like Jared, who runs the brand, like, hey, we need to do this for these people. And then of course Brian is one of the people that are desperately trying to help you in your worst time. You get a figure and it's broken. We understand that that's terrible. You spent your hard-earned money on it. You want to get a replacement as soon as possible. Brian and his team are here to make sure that happens. And so be nice. Be nice, everybody. And I guess that's the message going into the weekend. Everyone just be nice to each other.
Great.
That's why friendships exist in Mortal Kombat.
That's
there
right.
You go. You just killed the man, but I'm going to be friends with him after.
Friendship.
Yeah.
But like we mentioned, make sure to keep up with us at Bluefin Brands across all the social platforms, or at Storm Collectibles across Instagram and Facebook, and at Storm Collect US on Twitter, because there is a character limit on Twitter who hates us. So just Google Storm Collectibles and you'll find us. And it's been a lot of fun. And go to bluefinbrands.com and pick up some of these beasts. And I'll stop talking now. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.